Perry to recite the most famous words in racing.
Drivers, start your engines.
The engines are fired, the adrenaline is flowing. Our final race of the 2006 season is upon us. Todd Bodine sits in the driver's seat as far as the championship goes. His competition, Johnny Benson. 112 points separate the two. It's time for the Aaron's Lucky Dog Dream Seat upgrade. These fans get a move from the seats to the suites for tonight's race, courtesy of Aaron's. Aaron's brings you the Lucky Dog Dream Seat upgrade from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway, a beautiful aerial of this mile-and-a-half super speedway that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series ends their 2006 season on. The trucks are beginning to roll off of pit road and onto the access road to make their way around this track. You'll see our starting grid roll across the bottom of the screen for the Ford 200. Mike Skinner grabbed his 8th pole of the 2006 season. Now we want to take a look at a few of the drivers that we want to spotlight, and DW, we'll start with your speed spotlight.
Yeah, number 63, Brad Keselowski. This is his 6th start here in the Truck Series in 06. He comes from a long line of racers. A family has been in trucks ever since 1995. His father, Bob, won at Richmond in 97. I raced against Ron, and you love this right here. Around the Detroit area, which Phil's familiar with, his grandfather was known as Dirty John. And Hermie, how about what do you got?
I got number 15, Mike Wallace. Mike is the middle of the 3 Wallace racing brothers, driving the Billy Balloon Motorsports, Miccosukee Resorts, and Geico Chevrolet. Mike is a veteran of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the NASCAR Busch Series. He has 4 career victories in each series. I talked to Mike before the race. Something interesting for next year, he's going to go to Phoenix Racing for a full Busch Series season. But what he did, he went to Geico, his primary sponsor for next year, and signed a 3-year deal with Mike Wallace himself personally. So he has the sponsor, not the team. He took the sponsor to Phoenix Racing. That gives Mike a little bit of job security, something that's hard to find in NASCAR. Krista?
Keep your eye on number 40, Shane Huffman, in that Russell E. Garwood Chevrolet. Now, Shane had a lot of trouble in practice. They struggled, but they qualified 26th. Why are we keeping our eye on Shane? Because he is coming in with tons of momentum. Maybe not in this series as much, but he drives the number 88 Chevrolet for JR Motorsports, Dale Jr. in the Busch Series, and they have finished in the top 10 2 out of the last 3 Busch races. In fact, one of those being a top 5 in Memphis. Shane Huffman has momentum, and he comes in with confidence no matter what series. That certainly helps. Ray?
You know, Krista, when we start talking about up-and-coming drivers in this series, I would like to be able to buy stock in some of these young kids, and I would put on that list 26-year-old Willie Allen. Now, tonight is only his 3rd start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, but he already has a 6th-place finish at Martinsville, and I believe he will be full-time in the series next year with ThorSport Racing. They had to run him here to make sure he has a chance to get qualified for Daytona next year, but I believe you'll see Willie Allen full-time in this series, and it won't be long till you'll see him moving up. This kid has an incredible amount of talent. Phil?
Ray, let's take a look at the number 77 Dodge, the South Point Dodge of Brendan Gaughan. Brendan told me that business is good since his family took over sole ownership of the South Point Casino. Business is way up. That means there's going to be enough money to go racing next year. Brendan is excited about it. The only thing he doesn't know is which manufacturer he's going to run next year. Brendan Gaughan may be in something besides a Dodge in 2007, but he's looking for a great run tonight, and he starts 8th.
Well, we're going to ride along with a few different drivers, and you just mentioned riding with maybe a different manufacturer. Well, how about riding with a different team? We'll ride along with Terry Cook. He's in that Power Stroke Diesel by International Ford this year, but that's going to go away for next year. So Terry Cook will be in a different ride in 07, but we'll ride along with him tonight. He starts 32nd.
And we're going to ride along here with Bobby Hamilton Jr. And if there's a sentimental favorite here, starting in the 19th spot, if there's somebody here tonight, I think everybody'd like to see win a race, for his dad particularly, and for Bobby Jr. himself. This little crowd right here, homeboys from home down in Nashville, Lebanon, like to see him run good tonight.
DW, we talked so much about Johnny Benson and what he needs to do. He's got to get up front. He starts way back in the 18th position, but he's got to get up front. He's got to lead the most laps. He's got to win this thing. He had what I thought was the best truck in practice. He might just do it.
A little bit easier task for Todd Bodine, our points leader. He's got to finish 28th or better to cinch the championship tonight. He starts 12th.
And we got Joe Nemechek here in the 46 truck. He's starting 4th, almost on the front row.
Yep.
Second row is good enough for tonight, and I'd look for Joe to take that thing up front. That 46 truck runs really good on these mile-and-a-half racetracks.
Our last on board is Mikey, our man that's usually up in the booth with us. He's driving the Janet King Toyota. Let's see if we can talk to him. Hey, Mikey, it's Phil up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Phil, it's Mike down here in the back. I had to come back here because we changed transmissions. So now I don't feel so bad about qualifying crappy.
Well, you're usually standing beside me, and we talk about what all these guys are supposed to do and should do. Now, me and DW and Rick are going to talk about what you should be doing.
Okay, I'm used to people talking about me. How many more awards have you given away that aren't official yet?
Well, I gave Rookie of the Year away to Eric Darnell earlier in the qualifying show.
And the championship to Todd about a month ago.
Yeah, I did that, but you argued with me, so we're going to see who's right. Now, hey, how's that racetrack look out there in darkness?
Oh, it's beautiful, and the thing that I like about looking at it, Phil, is the fact that I'm up against the wall. I can race here, or I can go down there to the bottom and run there as well. This track just lends itself to some great racing. If I'm at home, I'm going to sit back and get me a cold beverage and enjoy some action. You got DW up there, you say?
We do. You want to talk to him?
Yeah, just tell him I love him, and I'll see him later.
Little brother, you look good sitting in that truck, buddy. You fit down in there nice. Now take that thing to the front. We need a win.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it. We had a good truck in practice, so we'll take this Janet King Toyota. This is my first race in a Toyota, first to Benny. Janet King's a great sponsor. They're the king of clean. We're going to take it to the front. We're going to clean up with this Janet King truck.
All right, Mikey, we're going to let you go. Why don't you throw it down to Ray with his thoughts before the green?
Hey, Ray, I know you got some. What are they?
Well, Michael, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's an emotional night for Todd Bodine. He is on the verge of his first ever championship. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring your favorite truck to this race, right? He's driving chassis number 51 tonight, and this exact truck has won 5 races for Todd Bodine. But it's been a long time since it's been to victory lane. As a matter of fact, 22 races since Todd won with this truck in Atlanta. But in the field tonight, 7 different drivers with trucks that have gone to victory lane tonight, or excuse me, this season. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be one of those guys that's on this list back in victory lane tonight at Homestead. Krista?
Well, on a lighter note, but a serious one nonetheless. Last week in Phoenix, Ray Dunlap told you that the number 60 Jack Sprague's good luck charm, the monkey, had gone missing. Well, guess what? The monkey has been found. The mystery solved. Look at this. Was the monkey hanging by a noose in the number 4 pit here in Miami earlier today. It arrived here at the track via trackside services. It was shipped to the track. The number 60 team went back. They went and found it. Here it is, the 60 monkey, back where it belongs on the 60 pit. Hermie?
Yeah, Krista, my thought focuses on the series as a whole. As DW talked about in the pre-race, Toyota's come in with a 3-year plan and has really started to dominate the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. My thought is, you know, the top 3 guys in the trucks in the point series, Toyotas. The top 3 guys in the start lineup tonight, Toyotas. These other manufacturers are going to have to step up to compete with Toyota for next year and beyond. Guys?
Well, I guess my question to that would be, now that Toyota is moving into the Busch and the Cup Series, does that dilute their focus on the Truck Series?
Not one bit. We'll be back in the Truck Series next year with full-blown efforts on several teams' parts. We got a lot of work to do. We got trucks, Busch, and Cup, but they'll give 100% in every series.
Something they've got to be very proud is they are going to win a championship tonight. We know either Johnny Benson or Todd Bodine is going to win. They've got their first championship.
And they're going to defend that manufacturer's championship next year. You can count on that.
Well, you heard the words right there from owner Darrell Waltrip.
We had such a big start last week at Phoenix. We had Johnny Benson on the pole. He spun out on lap number 1. He's not right up front now like he was, but we want to see if we can get this race started clean and green. But Darrell, we've heard you so often on our Fox broadcast kind of get this thing going, so we're going to kind of hand it to you and let you do it.
Oh, I think it's just one of those nights, Phil, when you got to have it, you know. They're coming down here to get the green flag. It's in the air and boogity, boogity, boogity. Oh, yeah, let's go racing, boys.
Is underway. Truck racing, the final race of the season. Todd Bodine looking for his first ever championship for the Bodine family. going three wide. Mike Skinner out in front of the field. Bill Lester starting second, trying to hold on to that position while David Ruderman works to the inside.
Brendan gone there about 6 or 7 back. Decided to go to the high side. Mark Martin pulled up to block him, but Skinner leads lap number 1.
Skinner wasted no time in stretching it out just a little bit here. He obviously has a fast truck.
There's our point leader right there.
Yeah, you would expect Todd Bodine to be running away from other trucks, trying not to be anywhere near them because, again, he has to finish 28th or better to win, but what he can't do is get out of this race early.
No, but what he's trying to do right now is find a comfortable place to ride. If he can get in there around Jack Sprague or some of his buddies, he'll feel real comfortable. That's a lot better than falling all the way to the rear and having to deal with 35 other trucks.
He's got part of the battle done. His truck started. He took the green flag.
That's right. Trust me, that is a relief.
Trucks beginning to spread out around this mile-and-a-half track. It's been a long day for the Truck Series. Started with practice this morning at 9:30. Then we qualified just a little bit earlier at 5 o'clock. And now the race, which should take us into almost 11:30 tonight. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, we've told you a couple times about Todd Bodine leading this series throughout the year. If he wins this championship tonight, he will have led 21 consecutive races. And by far, that's a brand new NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series record. You can add domination to the Lumber Liquidators team. If they win tonight, 21 weeks in a row, they've been the points leader.
Boy, I tell you one thing, I'm a little bit concerned about that 21 truck there was east, and he's coming off the corner underneath of him, and we know these trucks get really arrow loose down there like that. Golly, I'd be careful.
We've seen it happen so many times. We saw Mark Martin lose it at Atlanta on the bottom of another truck coming off turn 2. So when these trucks get side by side, the truck on the bottom loses so much of that rear downforce. Around they come.
I said he was just trying to find a place to get comfortable. Maybe he's found it now. He's in a little bit of a zone right there.
He's got 6 spots in front of him and 6 spots behind him.
Maybe up front is more comfortable for him.
Well, once they drop the green flag, you run a few laps, truck feels good, everything feels okay. You kind of put the championship out of your mind. But watch this. This makes me nervous.
See, that's Todd right there on the inside. We got trouble.
Problem is
turn 4.
Willie Allen's involved in this one. The 59 of Chad Chaffin. Also, looks like Damon Lusk in the 25 is around.
So far, looks like our championship contenders have gotten through this. They should have both been in front of this accident.
And that's why Todd didn't want to follow the rear. There's no way to get back there. These are the kind of things that happen. So that's why he's kind of pushing it to get up near the front. Safer up there.
There's Damon Lusk right there, the Red Rocks Dodge. See if we can take a look back at what caused this. We're over in turn number 4. You see the 59. He's moving up the racetrack. He makes contact with the 87 of Willie Allen. The 25 of Damon Lusk has nowhere to go. Michelle Jourdain in the 50 runs into the back of the 25 of Damon Lusk. Tough break for Jim Harris and his Harris Trucking Toyota.
Homestead-Miami Speedway, the site of the final race of the season, and our first accident has taken place before we crown our champion. Beautiful evening for racing at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We're under our first caution, and the reason being 3 trucks got involved.
There's one of them right there, the 25 of Damon Lusk. Watch the 59. That's Chad Chaffin right in the middle of your screen. He's going to slide up the racetrack. He lost that front end DW, made some contact with the Willie Allen, and then Chad could not control that truck when it turned back hard to the right, head on into the wall.
Yeah, it looked like he got just had the air off the nose, couldn't get the nose planted. The front end took off and right into the side of the 87 truck. And then, as you said, Phil, the 59 went hard into the outside wall.
Thank goodness for these safer barriers.
Right along with Terry Cook, what he saw.
What's right in front of him, he sees that accident right there taking place. He's going to go drive right to the apron to give those guys a bunch of room up there. Good heads-up move by Terry Cook.
Chad Chaffin, Willie Allen, and Damon Lusk, the 3 trucks that had damage after this accident. We'll be back for the restart. Homestead. Safety crews still working on this mile-and-a-half track, cleaning it up after our first caution took place on lap number 5. 3 trucks involved in that accident. Hermie.
Yeah, update on a couple guys on my end of pit road. David Ruderman in the 17 qualified 3rd. He's running 2nd, but he really does not like his truck at this point. They hadn't run many laps, but his truck is tight through the center of the corner, which is also making him loose off the corner. He's putting too much wheel in it, so he'll have to get his truck turning a little bit better in the center of the corner. And also the 12, Michael Waltrip, we touched on him. He had to start in the rear for a transmission change. He took advantage of this caution to come in to lower the track ball on the right side. His truck is too loose, guys.
And that's not surprising. Michael had to make the race on time, so he's going to kind of have a qualifying setup laid up under his truck, and he's going to have to work on it a little bit. We're coming to the green.
He's been out in front of the field since the green flag dropped. Now moving up into second, just behind him, David Rudeman. Two Toyotas nose to tail, and then just behind them one other Toyota of Bill Lester. And it looks like Rudeman's going to look to the outside of Mike Skinner on the restart.
And he's going to have the momentum because that banking over there, it just gives you a lot of good run off that turn. Get a lot of speed down. Look how he pulled away from Skinner because of the momentum off of the corner high side over there.
This progressive banking, 18 degrees on the bottom, all the way up to 20 degrees at the top. He took advantage of it, drove by Skinner on the high side.
And this stay dry here off of turn 4. I want to be sure we all get through that all right, and everybody has.
See a little bit of that flying through the air as they go through that for the first time. 3 and 4 wide across the start-finish line. Chase Miller in that number 4 Dodge was very fast in practice earlier today. Had a problem in his final practice session. Got into the wall in turn 4, but they resolved that, and he's back out in race condition.
Yeah, they were able to repair that truck, got it back out, had a pretty decent qualifying effort. Going to have a battle for the lead here. Look at Skinner looking at Rudeman.
You remember last year here, Rudeman sat on pole and he ran off from the field, had a mechanical problem. If his truck's having a little push problem, being out front in that clean air will certainly help that.
Gets that fresh air right down on the nose to hold that nose down, but Skinner wants that lead.
Oh, Skinner is he's tough off that corner, man. He can cut it to the bottom and go.
We saw Rudeman run a little bit higher into the corner. Could he have a tight issue right now with his truck?
Yeah, if your truck's a little tight moving up, you know, the circle's bigger. Whoa. This is ugly.
Oh, look at Skinner going around.
This is ugly.
On the inside, Skinner goes around, gets into the wall on the inside. The caution comes out once again, and a lot of damage to that number 5.
Daryl, how many times do we talk about that truck on the inside? We talked about it before that caution flag, losing air off that spoiler. That's exactly what happened to Mike Skinner.
I don't know what they did to these trucks over the last year or so, but that didn't used to be a problem. But I think they took the wicker bill off the rear spoiler or something, and ever since then, these trucks, they absolutely cannot run side by side.
And Rudeman even got sideways there and did an excellent job of holding on to that one.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Mike Skinner right there.
All he wanted to do was finish 10th.
Running together in front of the field, and Mike Skinner, terminal damage to the number 5. We'll be back with more Homestead. We're under our second caution of the night, and the reason why is a battle for the lead. David Rudeman in front. Mike Skinner trying to take the position away.
And you see Skinner, if you look at the left front tire on these trucks, any vehicle really on the racetrack, and you see that left front tire start to turn in toward to the right, probably real loose and probably going to have this kind of result.
This is right now Joe Nemechek's truck. Watch, you see Skinner's got to chase his truck up the hill because he's loose. Finally, he's got to turn it hard to stay off of David Rudeman, and then that's bad business right there.
Well, this is the same thing that happened in the other wreck where with the 59 truck, when he went in there and he couldn't hold the front end down and he pushed up and they had a wreck similar to that.
And exactly what you were talking about with the 21 of Bobby East and Todd Bodine earlier in this race, that could have happened to Todd Bodine.
That was the kind of fear I had for Todd, but he was able to live through it.
Aaron's lucky dog going to Willie Allen, that number 87 back on the lead lap. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, let's talk about Todd Bodine's day. His first couple of practices didn't go very well, and this is the right front tire from his Lumber Liquidators Toyota. Now, you see over here, the wear wasn't too bad coming across the middle, but look as we come out here, we get much more wear here, and check this out. All the way into the cords on the outside edge, and this is somewhat odd. You would expect the wear to be on the inside edge of these tires, but the outside edge had a lot of wear. They made a lot of adjustments to his truck. Remember, they don't think they're going to win tonight. The big deal is finish, so they made sure they're not going to have this problem during the race, guys.
Now, that's a camber issue, and the reason you use the inside of that tire up, it's like a knife. It's like a blade. When the truck goes into the corner and you turn the wheels and that inside edge starts to dig into the racetrack, it's just like hitting a skid. I mean, man, that thing will just cut.
Speaking of cutting, Randy Kaiser cuts the pace truck onto pit lane, and we're about ready to go back to racing. Now it's David Rudiman that will bring the field to the green flag. Just behind him, Joe Nemechek.
Joe got a little wheel spin on that restart there, Phil.
Yeah, sure did. Ted Musgrave looks to the inside of Mark Martin. Mark got a little bit of a slow restart. Ted's going to try to drive up on the inside, not quite able to do it this time.
If you don't have those tires cleaned off real good on the restart, you'll spin the tires just a little bit, the guy behind you will jump all over you.
Guys, let's keep an eye on the 4th place truck right there, the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. He told me his truck will not work on the bottom, Darrell, will not work in the middle. It only will work on the high side of the racetrack. Look at him right there.
That's where he's running. That South Point Dodge, number 77. Dodge still looking for their first win of the 2006 season. It's been a long time since they found victory lane.
And he used to be so good at like Texas, Atlanta, all these racetracks. They were his cup of tea, but he hadn't had that luck lately.
And they won the championship last year with Ted Musgrave.
Bill Lester just in front of Brendan Gaughan, those two racing for position, and Gaughan looks as though he's going to try to take 3rd away from Bill Lester.
Now that's the Brendan of old right there, man. He used to sail by everybody on the outside, and they said, where did he come from?
Takes over 3rd, now sets his sight on 2nd. Joe Nemechek holds on to that position.
I'll tell you, this is by far the best run that Brendan Gaughan has had this year. This has been a year that he would like to forget, but so excited about next year and what he's got going. Again, they don't know exactly what manufacturer they may be with, but they feel like they have a line on how to make their chassis work, and it looks like he's working tonight.
Johnny Benson has gotten past the 30 of Todd Bodine, and so Johnny's doing all he can to get to the front. He has to finish 1st or 2nd no matter what Todd does.
He has no pressure on him. He's got to win this race. That's all he can do.
There's going to take a look at the pass right there. That's Johnny. That's his onboard camera. The Exide battery Toyota. That's Todd outside in the Lumber Liquidators Toyota. Johnny pulls ahead a little bit right there, beats him off the corner.
I got a feeling that Todd probably said, Johnny, you go right ahead.
I'll give you all the room you need. And now Johnny Benson tries to get around that 20 of Marcus Ambrose. Team Australia on board for the Tasmanian.
You see how much room Johnny gives between him and Marcus Ambrose. If he drives that truck right out against Marcus Ambrose, that's when you get loose. Johnny left a full truck width in between them to keep that truck tight enough.
Same thing here, Phil, as he makes the pass off of 2. He didn't get out there leaning on him.
Now Todd Bodine almost looked on the inside of Marcus Ambrose.
Now, it wouldn't surprise me to see Todd just follow Johnny the rest of the night.
Keep him in sight. Don't have to think.
That's right. He's going to try to make his way by the 20 of Marcus Ambrose. Again, same just like Johnny. Gave him a lot of room. He doesn't want to crowd anybody right now.
Well, and you got to remember, Marcus doesn't have that much experience, so you got to give him a little extra room. Just to be safe. Not that he's just because of his lack of experience.
4 years ago, I don't remember you ever pronouncing the first syllable of that word.
Which one?
Experience.
Oh, experience. Yeah.
I always thought it was just
I'm out of practice.
Todd Bodine, our championship leader, making his way toward the front, but keeping Johnny Benson inside. Out in front of this field, it's David Rudiman, looking for his 2nd ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
I believe old Dave right now is holding up that 46 because Joe has been looking high, he's been looking low. Looks like the Toyota might have a little steam on him down the straightaway, but look at him in the corner. Here he comes, looking outside.
Benchmark's going to try to make the move on the outside. You see him have to pedal the throttle a little bit. Still able to pull up beside of Rudiman off the corner.
David will have to let him go, and he's going to bring Brendan right along with him.
That's the battle for the lead. Joe Nemechek on the outside, David Rudiman on the inside, and here comes the South Point 77 of Brendan Gaughan.
Don't you know Brendan would like to win this race? Just think about 3 years ago when he had this championship in his grasp, lost it right here on the front straightaway, a lot like what we saw with Mike Skinner a little earlier.
What's that team talking about, Hermie?
Well, obviously, Brendan Gaughan is happy with his truck, and as DW touched on, 2 things he accomplishes by running that high line. 1, he gets a lot of clean air on the nose of that truck. Number 2, a lot of momentum off these corners down these long straightaways here at Homestead. The only problem is where it's getting on up and down the pit road for these other trucks. The 77 and 46 are running up high, so a lot of these other trucks are tying it up there too, which will make it a little harder to pass. Krista?
Want to give you an update on Mark Martin. He's kind of just holding steady, running exactly where he started in 6th place. They are going to look for changes when they bring their truck down on their pit stop. They're going to need to tighten it up a bit. Looking to go down about up to 2 rounds down to tighten up the truck. Mark is saying the wheel will not turn in the turns, and the truck wants to go sideways. Also, Mark having some problems with his tach when the race started. They seem to have gotten that worked out.
Mark running right on the bottom of the racetrack, whereas some of the other trucks have made their way up toward the top line.
Right behind his teammate Eric Darnell and Woolrich for that's the last race for Woolrich on that Roush number 99. Eric's going to drive to the outside of the 22, the Waste Management Toyota. Bill Lester.
Look out now. Give me some room.
Ray Dunlap, what's Bill Lester saying?
Well, he's tight from the center off, and that's why he's not liking it when somebody's on his outside there. You'll see that Mark Martin is going to try to go to the inside of Bill Lester. Lester likes it up on the high side, helps his truck roll through the center a little bit, but he's tight from the center off. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the first stop to try to make his Waste Management Toyota just a little bit better from center off.
Mark Martin's got to be feeling a little more comfortable than the last race he was in. He only completed 1 lap. Joe Nemechek out in front of the field. Brendan Gaughan in South Point Dodge running in 2nd. Some big problems, and this could really add to the drama with the 30, Ray.
How's your truck right there, babe?
Well, you hear him talking on the radio. That's Mike Hillman Jr. asking him, how is it? Todd, let's see what Todd says here. He wants to get through the corner before he hits that radio.
If I get up high, it's too loose all the way through a little bit. It's good around the bottom.
And just a moment ago, Todd had said he had a bit of a vibration. Now, that was the case earlier in practice when he had that right front tire that wore on the outside edge. He had a bit of a vibration. They were saying they might have to come in here and pit, but Todd says no. He feels like it's not a flat tire, but he does have a vibration in his Lumber Liquidators Toyota.
Daryl, he's going to feel every vibration. If somebody rattles a seat in the grandstand, Todd's going to feel that too.
Before the night's over with, everybody on that crew will have had a heart attack at least once. The tire guy, the gear guy, the motor guy, they're all just down there holding their breath.
Great run in the Fastenal Dodge right there. There's Bobby Hamilton Jr. just takes over the 10th spot from Rick Crawford. He had a very, very good truck in practice. Both the 18 and the 4, both trucks out of Bobby Hamilton Racing were very, very good in practice.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. started this race in 19th, so he's moved up to 10th. As we look back on Rick Crawford, number 14. Ray, what are they talking about with this Fastenal Dodge?
Well, he's talking about being tight in the center, just like about everybody else so far on the radio tonight. But we've documented that Bobby Jr. will not be back in this truck next year. He's on his way back to the NASCAR Busch Series. So who will drive the 18? Well, at first we thought it was going to be Ken Schrader, and there's still a chance that he will do that and share that ride with a younger driver. But earlier this week on Monday, Dennis Setzer went to Fastenal to interview for this job. Setzer will be out of the 85 more than likely next year, and he's looking for work. They think they want a veteran in there to run for a championship, so I believe Dennis Setzer has now moved to the top of the list to drive that number 18.
I think Dennis is probably at the top of a lot of lists because he's a heck of a driver, and he won't have any problem finding him another job.
There's a battle for 7th position. Ted Musgrave holds it. Mike Bliss just behind him in that Strut Masters number 16.
Mike Bliss qualified back in the 11th spot, so he's made a bit of a move thus far. He's going to try to see if he can clear Ted Musgrave. He does. Is able to drive up in front of Ted Musgrave and take over that spot.
Pretty good battle right here for the lead right now. These 2 trucks out front, Joe and Brendan, but Mark Martin is starting to look real racy to me. He's starting to run the bottom, and he's starting to clip them off just a little bit at a time.
You know, Mark made a comment to me earlier today about having to stop the truck before he gets in the corner, and then he gets back on it and runs through the corner. Obviously didn't mean that, but what was that trying to insinuate?
Well, I think it's the arrow thing. If you drive these things into the corner too hard, they just don't have enough front grip to keep them from taking off up the hill. What you got to do is roll out early, get that nose planted, and then you can go like crazy once it sets. But you got to get the truck where it will take that initial set down on those soft springs. Then you can go. But they have a tendency to want to pack the nose going down the straightaway. And if you hit the corner like that, then it's going to push up.
Chris Devoto.
Yeah, guys, Joe Nemechek Nemechek running the same truck that Clint Boyer won a few weeks ago with at Texas, and you're taking a look at Clint Boyer. He's up on the pit box, and he kind of had a hand in the fact that Joe Nemechek is at least running up front, or at least getting this pit stall up front. They got the first selection of pit stalls based on where the trucks qualified in Texas. Clint Boyer, of course, not only won that race, he sat on the pole in Texas. So he is very interested in what this number 46 truck is doing this evening.
What a great move by Mark Martin. Right on the bottom of the racetrack, he is able to drive by the 17 of David Ruderman.
Mark's an old veteran. You go where they're not. Everybody wants to run high. Let me show you where I'm going to run.
Look where Joe Nemechek is right now. Brendan was the first truck to get up high, then Joe Nemechek moved up there. Had he not moved up there, Brendan would have driven by him a long time ago.
And now it's Mark Martin's turn. He'll go to the inside, tries to take second away from Brendan Gaughan. They're side by side as they go through 1 and 2.
Now what Mark has to deal with is not enough momentum off the corner. When the truck's on the outside, you've got to kind of play it safe. You can't run out there and slam into him. So Mark's got to really get a good run to be able to complete a pass.
It was funny, we were listening to Mark Martin during practice. Ooh, Brendan right up against the wall. Mark's going to try to take advantage of that. He's going to drive right up beside Brendan. Watch, Mark's going to drive right back down to the bottom. Brendan's going to stay right up against the wall. Look at Mark through the center of the corner, Darrell.
Yeah, at that time, Brendan lost momentum off of turn 4, opened the door for Mark to make that low pass.
8 and 9 right here. The 9 of Ted Musgrave holding on to the 8th position in that Team ASE Toyota Tundra. And right behind him, the Conway Freight Toyota Tundra of Jack Sprague.
Exactly what you were talking about. Watch Jack Sprague go to the bottom of the racetrack. If he doesn't clear it, the 9 of Ted Musgrave, then he will not have the momentum coming off the corner. Watch the run gets Ted gets off the corner, and see him pull right back out in front of the 60.
It's like a slingshot when you come off the high side like that. You just get a big run, man. And it's hard to complete that pass. Got to do it right in the middle of the corner right here. And you got to get up in front of the guy right here. Kind of do a slide job on him. Oh, we got trouble off turn 4.
Problems with the 12 of Michael Waltrip. He gets spun around. Riding on board with him as we see the trucks come back behind him.
Looks like the 4 truck and the 12 here had some issues.
Mikey's going to get going. That's our leader, Joe Nemechek, right behind Mikey. Mikey will stay on the same lap if he can get up to speed and stay ahead of the leader. He has to be careful. If he has any flat tires and he blows one of those tires out, that will just about destroy the body. Obviously, both right side tires are flat right now, Darrell.
Yeah, they're real soft, and that's when they fly apart, rip all the sheet metal off.
No, you're not. Flat.
That communication between he and his crew chief.
Wonder if he had I noticed the left rear soft too. Of course, he slid up pretty good ways. Not sure if that, I don't know if that left rear is soft or not. I thought it was.
He's got to be careful now.
Take a look at this. Already in progress as far as him sliding around in turn 4.
There he is up against the wall. There's Mike Wallace, the 15 truck. He's going to make a little bit of contact right there. Here comes Chase Miller. He's going to do his best to avoid Michael. It looks like he does. He may have made contact with the outside wall. There's another driver right here. Mikey's right up against the wall and just loses the back end.
Yep. Quite a bit of contact, actually. Back end just comes out. I'm telling you, Mike Wallace did a heck of a job sliding through there.
Absolutely.
Chase Miller didn't do too bad a job of squeezing by on the outside.
Sure did.
Right along with the number 12. Pretty out of the throttle.
But he was in the throttle and the thing got loose. He tried to catch the back end, couldn't quite do it.
Hold it if you can, hold it if you can.
That's one danger about running right up against the wall. Number one, he's got his right sides right up almost in the loose stuff up there with a little cushion. Here come our leaders on pit road.
Field making its way onto pit road. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Todd Bodine was going to make a track bar adjustment. He said, I'm afraid that's going to hurt it coming off the corner too much. They're going to put a couple of pounds of air pressure into the right front. That'll help his truck cut through just a little bit. Here comes the Lumber Liquidators Toyota. This may be the big pit stop of the night. Where will Todd come in and go out? The crew goes to work on it right now. They know they want to be smooth. Just get this thing done early and get it back out to the racetrack. Hermie?
A great run going from Brendan Gaughan. His truck's a little bit tight in the center, but he does not want the team to mess up his entry. He's really strong on entry, so just 1/2 pound down on both left sides.
Joe Nemechek in his spot. They are a little bit tight. Working on the left side. They've already changed the right. He is not going to make it off pit road. Bad goes to Mark Martin. Mark Martin is off pit road first, followed by Joe Nemechek and then David Rudiman.
What a great job by Mark Martin. Mike Beam's crew, Mike Beam-led crew, did a terrific job and got him out front.
That's bad news for everybody else, too.
You get Mark Martin out in front on a 1.5-mile track, and he will be very tough to catch, especially when he can run on the bottom of the track or the top of the track. Could Mark Martin claim his 6th win of the season? We'll find out. Ford 200 on speed continuing. Again, this one's scheduled for 134 laps. We've completed 46. Mark Martin now out in front of the field. Joe Nemechek with a good stop will be scored in 2nd on the restart.
Brendan Gaughan came in the pit 2nd, had trouble with the right front tire, comes out 11th. Some of these trucks may run the bottom of the racetrack while these tires are brand new, Darrell, and it won't be long before they start moving back up.
Yeah, this pit stop is when you take a good truck and make it bad, and a bad truck and make it good. Because it never ceases to amaze me how guys will take a truck that's pretty good and mess it up with a pit stop.
How about Joe Nemechek just drives by Mark Martin on the outside?
I think that's Mark Martin not going to force the issue. Plus, we know Mark's truck is a long-run truck. The longer they go, the better he gets.
Nemechek going to the middle of the racetrack. Mark Martin stays up on the high side. Right behind him, glued to his tailgate, is the 17 of David Rudiman.
We know David Rudiman talked about being too tight. Look at this great battle right there. That is our point battle right there.
Johnny Benson on the inside, and then Exide Batteries, number 23 Toyota Tundra. Lumber Liquidators third to give. Todd Bodine lets him go.
Johnny would love to put Todd in a compromising position.
And we also know that Johnny needs to get up front. He needs to, at the very least, lead this race, if not lead the most laps. So he needs to try to get by as many trucks as he can possibly get by.
Right.
You know, Johnny Benson before that pit stop said that the front bar was loading up and then unloading for some reason, and he said it really made him lose through the center of the corner, so they made a couple of changes on that Exide Toyota. Now for Todd Bodine, he came in 12th and went out 9th on the racetrack. I said to Mike Hillman Jr., what a great stop, huh? He said, well, Todd needs to be conservative on the racetrack, but the pit crew certainly doesn't need to be conservative in here.
What he's feeling is with that jerking of the sway bar is you run a chain on the sway bar. On the right side, you'll run a chain. And you take all the slack out of that chain, but if you hit a bump or something, it can upset the truck.
Jack Sprague, Ted Musgrave. Look at Sprague with his hands full. Got a little loose there, and Ted Musgrave's going to try to go on the inside.
Just killed enough momentum to allow the 9 of Ted Musgrave to get right to the bottom of the racetrack. Get inside Jack Sprague. Jack's going to try to hold him off, driving down into turn number 1.
This is for the lead. Mark Martin on the inside of Joe Nemechek.
Didn't take long for that long run, number 6, to get back to the front, did it?
As soon as that air pressure builds up a little bit, hello, goodbye.
Mike Beam said that's a brand new truck. That's not the truck we wanted to bring. We lost that truck in Atlanta, but it's not a bad truck, doesn't look like.
No.
Mark Martin's led in 8 races this season, finishing either 1st or 2nd in each of them.
Ted Musgrave continues to try to work his way by Jack Sprague, not quite able to do it. Ted's going to drive right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Going to be able to pull up beside Jack. Let's see what he can do. No, not able to do it. There's the 99 of Eric Darnell right behind this battle.
They're handing him the Rookie of the Year award.
Well, absolutely.
But you know why? Look how he's racing. He's racing smart. He's watching these veterans here run up front, and he's learning from them, man. And that's what rookies need to do.
Eric Darnell chose to stay in the Truck Series another year. Said, you know what? I need some more experience. I think this is the place for me.
Such a good confidence builder, Rick. Being able to run in a series where you're competitive, where you got a chance to win. You move to the next level, you may be an also-ran.
That's a battle for 6 right there. That Jack Sprague, the 60 truck, has 6. That's Ted Musgrave, the 9 in 7th. Eric Darnell, the 99 in 8th.
Ted Musgrave looking to the inside again of Jack Sprague. Has the momentum this time as they come off of turn. Front of the field, it's the 6 of Mark Martin. Joe Nemechek holds on to 2nd. 3rd is David Rudiman. 4th, Bill Lester with an impressive run. Rounding out the top 5, Mike Bliss. had problems in the number 9. He brought it behind the wall.
Good bad news for Germain Racing. Obviously, that's Todd Bodine's teammate. That's one truck that Todd will not have to beat. But unfortunately, Ted Musgrave is battling for a top 5 position in the points. And it looks like he's going to have early trouble, obviously.
The battle for the 3rd position. David Rudeman holding on to it. Bill Lester wanting it. Bill Lester, one of those drivers who's unsure of what his 2007 holds for him.
Our leader, Mark Martin, just went by. There's a 2nd place truck, the 46 of Joe Nemechek. As you mentioned, David Rudeman, the Toyota's in 3rd. Bill Lester in his Toyota. The Waste Management Toyota is running 4th right now.
Yeah, David's truck, Rudeman, looks like he gets better after a few laps. He's closing back in on the back of Joe there in the 46, but boy, Lester is wearing him out too. So we got a little battle going on right there. Matter of fact, there goes Lester right there by David. No, I'm sorry, that was Mark passing another truck.
Lester was on the inside.
Yeah, I thought that was that green 22.
Bill Lester trying to improve upon a career best of 5th. He's done it twice, Kansas and Homestead a year ago, so he knows how to run on these mile-and-a-half tracks.
Yeah, this very race he finished 5th last year. Had a great run, started on the outside pole that night. That day, actually, we were supposed to race at night last year and ended up raining that race out and ran the next morning.
Well, y'all remember all the good stuff. I just remembered Texas about 2 years ago when he and Lester, David and Lester were racing together. Probably one of the hardest hits I ever seen anybody take. David got into the outside wall.
That was an incredibly hard hit for both those guys.
Both of them.
Here comes Bill Lester looking again to the inside of David Rudeman. And as these two battle for position, oh, there goes Bill Lester. He goes sideways down the front stretch into the grass, scraping off the wall. As they go across the start-finish line, the caution will come out once again. The 4th caution of the night.
Same situation, same old song.
Different verse.
Got on the inside, trying to get by the 17 of David Rudeman. Lost air off the
Well, I feel I've been watching those two, and I've just been expecting something to happen right there.
Tough break for Bill Lester. Take a look at it right. That's him driving to the inside of the 17 of David Rudeman. Watch when they come off turn 4. They've got a big gap between them right now. But David's going to have to move to the inside to get by that 50 truck. When he did, that closed up that gap, and the air came off the rear spoiler of the 22.
Around he went. Did a good job of not pounding that inside wall.
Made the slight bit of contact, as you can see right there. You see the scrape on the left side, but it sure could have been a whole lot worse. We saw the damage that Mike Skinner had from spinning out coming off of turn number 4.
And the biggest difference there is Skinner was way up high and he couldn't get his truck slowed down. This truck, 22 truck of Lester, it was more down low, so he got a chance to get it wound up a little bit.
This accident taking place on lap 63. Willie Allen again gets the Aaron's lucky dog. You see the damage to the front of that truck. They've had some problems in the first caution on lap 5 is when they had the damage to that one. They've been working on it continuously to try to get it back up to speed.
That's the 2nd Aaron's lucky dog for Willie Allen right there, who obviously got taken out in that very first accident, or got some damage in that very first accident with the 59 of Chad Chapman.
It's as though the field will, or at least some of the field, will make its way onto pit road. Mark Martin leading that pack. Casey Kingsland in the number 7, a lap down, and so he will stay out behind the pace truck.
The field.
The field
has definitely come in.
Yeah. Mark Martin will lead the group down on pit road. Ray?
Todd Bodine was about 2 laps away from coming to pit road under green. He said he had a terrible vibration, and he just was not happy with the way the truck was running on the high side. He said, we got to change these tires, and the caution comes out just at the right time. So Bodine with that lucky horseshoe one more time. They're going to go down 2 rounds of wedge on the right side on this truck. They were going to make a track bar adjustment, but Todd called it off. There'll be 4 tires for the number 30. Hermie?
David Rudeman's coming in. He went too far on the adjustment with his truck. He was tight in the first part of the race. On this last run, he was loose, so they made an air pressure adjustment, snuck him back up just a little bit. Christopher?
It's a 4-tire and slight adjustment stop for Mark Martin. They said, why not come in? And Mark Martin is the leader. He goes off pit road, and it's going to be close between he and Nemechek. I think Nemechek got him, guys.
But in front of them, the AES Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday. So Hornaday will be in front of the field for the restart. Terry Cook will be scored our leader as they come out of turn 4 and await the green flag. Terry Cook stayed out on the racetrack. Ron Hornaday was the first one off of pit road. We believe he only changed 2 tires.
Actually, I think it was gas only.
Gas only for Ron Hornaday.
And Rick Crawford, our 5th place truck, also gas only.
And look at Ron Hornaday right out of the first corner. Will take over the top spot. Terry Cook holding on to second. For now, here comes Joe Nemechek. He'll take that position away.
Watch out. Here come those 4 new tires. Here comes Mark Martin taking over the 3rd spot from Terry Cook. Here's Rick Crawford on the inside. Watch Nemechek go to the outside and drive by.
Look out for Ron Hornaday to get a little loose. We've seen it a couple times already tonight.
Hornaday's not going to give up. He's going to charge down in there, but to no avail. Joe's got the momentum on the outside.
And fresh.
And some Mr. Feelgood to go along with it.
Yeah, maybe more importantly, fresh tires.
Yeah.
Here's Marcus Ambrose going to try to make his way by with his Team Australia Ford on the inside of Terry Cook.
And Terry Cook stayed out onto the racetrack. Everyone else pitted to lead laps.
Terry Cook's one of those guys in the battle for a top 10 spot in the year-ending point standings.
Yeah, with Skinner out of the race, got a shot.
Terry Cook was 30 points behind Mike Skinner coming into this race. Here comes David Rudeman in the number 17, charging toward the front.
Now he better be careful. That's he knows what can happen to the guy on the inside.
He's seen it up close a couple times.
He's felt it.
For second, Mark Martin on the inside of Ron Hornaday.
Mark should make pretty quick work of this right now. Remember, Ron Hornaday has about 20 laps more on his tires than does Mark Martin or Joe Nemechek, David Rudeman, or most of the other guys in the field.
Joe Nemechek has put 8 truck lengths between himself and Mark Martin, but Mark Martin and his Ford is making his way toward the front, as is Rick Crawford and his Ford. So Joe Nemechek leads the field at Homestead. Battle for the top spot. Joe Nemechek holds it now, but it's Mark Martin, who's won 5 races already this season, looking for his 6th to round out the 2006 season and his last ride in a Roush Racing truck.
He showed us after his first pit stop, it takes him a few laps. His truck keeps getting better and better. Joe Nemechek's truck is really fast on the short term, but then Mark was able to get by him. Let's see if he can do it again.
Krista, what's Joe saying?
Well, Joe's crew had a little bit of redemption on that last stop. Earlier back on lap 45, when Mark beat them off pit road, the crew had a lug nut hung up on the left rear. This time they did not make any chassis changes, just a 4-tire stop, and they were perfect. A little bit of redemption for them. Also something to keep in mind, Joe Nemechek has plenty of winning experience here at Homestead. 3 Busch wins under his belt, right? Booth.
That was Mark Martin making the pass on Joe Nemechek. So Martin back in front of this field.
That's Johnny Benson over there taking over the 3rd spot left of your screen from the 16 of Mike Bliss. Ray.
Well, Rick, excuse me, Phil, you always know that it's tough on a crew chief whenever the driver says it's way too loose in and way too tight off. You're going to have to make some big adjustments. Now, Rick Wren is the crew chief for Johnny Benson, and he did not want to come to pit road the last time, but he said we cannot allow the front-running trucks to put tires on if we don't. Now, Rick thinks that the left front has way too much spring in it. That's a tough thing to adjust, so they're going to try to put some rubbers in the rear to try to help balance that thing out a little bit, but way loose getting in and way tight getting off.
He's still got a pretty good truck right now. That 23 took over the 3rd spot from the 16 of Mike Bliss. While we were in commercial break, we saw a couple trucks get up against the wall. Marcus Ambrose was one of those trucks. This is coming off turn number 4. Watch him right there. He's in that green truck. Bounces off. He hits a pretty good lichter right in front of the 77 of Brendan Gaughan.
And then they go over to turn 4, and you see up ahead there, Rudeman coming off of turn 2 over there. We'll see the 20 one more time here. He gets it hard off turn 4. Then off of turn 2, Watch David here, Rudiman. He gets the thing crossed up, gets it into the wall. Slightly, lightly, politely. Can't do that all nightly.
You're running up against the wall, and then you get sideways. There's so little margin for error up there. If he's on the bottom of the racetrack or he's in the middle of the racetrack, he can chase that truck uphill to try to save it. When he's against the wall, there's nothing there but that blue safer barrier.
But you know what old King used to say, when you run close to it, at least you don't hit it so hard.
You know, we saw the promo for the Speed all-time great rivalry. Who was your biggest rival? Was it Bobby Allison?
Bobby, yeah, I guess I'd have to say Bobby Allison. I probably were the most bitter, but you know, we had some really hard battles there. 81, 82, 83, 84, fighting for the championship. We had some pretty good knockdown dragouts.
Rivalry building in the Craftsman Truck Series, at least for this race. Here's for third, Mike Bliss and Johnny Benson. Bobby Hamilton Jr. just behind this group. Then Fastenal Dodge, a great run for that team.
Bobby Jr. is looking for his first top 5 finish in this truck this year. He's going to drive to the outside of Bliss.
Well, that right there is just getting back into gas before the other guy does and holding it wide open. He's got something hanging down under the truck, dragging, but I don't think it's anything important because it's just kind of sparking, almost like a brake duct or something.
Not hurting his speed at all right there. Just doing a great job. His last ride in this Fastenal Dodge, going to move back to the Busch Series next year. Ray talked earlier about who may take his place in this 18 truck.
These trucks running down on the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen a lot of the trucks running on the higher line. Ray, what's going on with the Germain team?
Well, you know, I told you that Todd Bodine's truck had a little bit of a vibration and he was going to come to pit road. Well, here's what happens. When you come to the racetrack, you lease your tires from Goodyear. You take the actual tires that they give you. And right here is a couple of wheel weights that they put on. Now, they try to balance these rims and tires together, and they'll add a few of these wheel weights. Now, the dots tell you how big of a weight that needs to go on there. One of the tires that came off of Todd Bodine's truck on the very last pit stop had lost both wheel weights right here, and that'll throw the thing into a serious vibration, and that's what Todd's problem was. They've taken that wheel back to Goodyear to get it repaired.
I feel we used to take weather stripping and the weather stripping cement, the yellow stuff, and go all over those weights just for a little extra protection. That stuff would harden up just like they use on the lug nuts so that the weights wouldn't fly off.
You wouldn't think a half ounce of wheel weight would make that much difference, but these trucks are running upwards of 185 miles an hour in the straightaway. You get a wheel about a half ounce out of balance, you've got a serious vibration.
Especially when you're running for a championship.
We saw those points jumping in there. Todd Bodine with just a 68-point lead over Johnny Benson as we've completed over halfway of this race with 49 laps to go of the 134.
We have 3 trucks right now that are officially out of this race. That does not include Ted Musgrave. We don't know if he's trying to make repairs in the garage or to try to get back out. So obviously there are not enough trucks out of this race for Todd Bodine to be comfortable yet.
Mark Martin out in front of the field. Ted Musgrave, that's Todd Bodine's teammate, out of this race, and he's up on top of the pit box with Mike Hillman Sr. watching to see if Todd Bodine can grab the championship for the 2006 season. Tonight's Fastenal flashback takes us back to 2004 right here. Bobby Hamilton Sr., piloting his number 4 Squarety Dodge, brought home a well-deserved championship for his family and all of Bobby Hamilton Racing. A remarkable season that came down to the wire. Bobby Hamilton winning his first NASCAR championship is tonight's Fastenal flashback. Just a note, Bobby Sr. is not at the track tonight, but we're sure that he's watching at home, and all of us from Speed and the racing community are thinking about you and praying for you.
And his truck is sure having a great run with Bobby Jr. right there. What good medicine that would be to see that 18 truck out front.
Oh, Hambone's probably up on the Center Hill Lake this evening watching this out on his boat. We keep our boat up there in the same place, and he goes up there a lot for a little R&R.
Deserves it. Gone through a lot this season. Mark Martin out in front of this field. Joe Nemechek, Johnny Benson moved his way up to 3rd. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 4th, and Mike Bliss rounds out our top 5.
Mark Martin is consistently running the fastest lap on the racetrack every single time, putting a lot of distance between himself and Nemechek.
There's Chase Miller just in front of Mark Martin. He's about to go a lap down. Chase Miller, one of the fastest trucks in the field in practice today.
Battle for third right there. There's Johnny Benson. He's got third. The 18 of Bobby Jr. wants it.
All over the back of that truck. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is going to go the high line. Johnny Benson stays on the bottom. We'll see if Bobby Hamilton Jr. can make this pass.
Gets a whale of a run. He gets to decide, do I want to try to go under him or do I want to try to get into the corner on the high side and get around him?
He gets that run on him, and then he's got to make a choice. Either I'm going to have to back off if I'm going to drive around the outside, or do I use that momentum and try to drive the inside? But he knows how much of a fight it's going to be on the bottom.
Let's look a little closer at our top 10 with our speed top 10 drop back. Krista? Oh, we've got a problem on the racetrack. Just behind the 6, it's Chase Miller getting spun around. Oh, and back up. It's Johnny Benson. He gets into our second place in points contender, and that takes the left rear tire down. Damage to the left side, and the bad luck continues for Johnny Benson.
That's going to be enough right there. That's Rick Wren telling his guys what to get ready to do. But you see all the damage on the inside of that truck. That's going to be enough that he's no longer going to be in contention here. A lot of damage to the left side of that X-side battery truck.
Yeah, that truck is really torn up.
What a tough break for JB. What a great season, though, nonetheless.
And impressive the fact, Rick Wren right there just rattling off exactly what they need to do. Very calm, very collected, and this happened 10 seconds ago.
You're looking at a guy that hadn't won a race in the Truck Series. I mean, you know, he's always run pretty good, but he hadn't won a race. All of a sudden, he wins 5 races and in contention to win the championship. That is incredible.
Phenomenal season for Johnny Benson. We take one more look. This is Chase Miller getting turned around. As he goes down off of the racetrack, he makes his way back up on it.
Johnny came by at a pretty good rate of speed. That was the 46 of Nemechek. Johnny was actually battling for the second position right there and gets taken out like this. What a horrible break for JB.
Yeah, you see him on the bottom there. Not sure spotter must have thought that the Ford truck was going to go back up the racetrack and probably maybe told him to stay low because he sure didn't try to move up.
Ray's on lap.
A lot of damage to the left side of this X-side Toyota. They're going to put tires on it and try to send him back to the racetrack. But Johnny said the rear end is wiggling real bad. He feels like it may have broken the track bar from that impact. Most of the impact looks like it's in the left front here. The rear doesn't look too terribly bad, but we'll see. As soon as he goes to the track, he'll know right away whether that thing's tracking right or not. Herbie?
Yeah, the 16 truck of Mike Skinner's coming down pit road. His truck is a little bit loose. They started the race back. He's in 4th place right now. They're going to put 2 rounds of wedge into the 16 truck, guys.
Herbie, wedge is also the call for Mark Martin. He is a little bit loose as he brings the Scotts Ford down into his pit stall. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Mark Martin. He comes in the leader, but right in front of him in the pit stall is Joe Nemechek. They're also making a chassis adjustment. Joe Nemechek's team coming around on the left side. It's going to be a tight battle off pit road down here in the front end. Ray, who have you got?
Todd Bodine, and they did decide to finally make that track bar adjustment. Todd said in the long run here, he felt like it's going to help him towards the end of this race. They let him know what happened to the 23, and he heard Todd go, oh, man.
Probably a sigh of relief for Todd Bodine. This is what took place with the 23 of Johnny Benson. We ride along with him. A very hard hit. Chase Miller coming back up on the racetrack. And Johnny Benson's championship dreams have just gone out the window. And again, Johnny Benson, second in the points, gets caught up in an accident. Chase Miller had gone to the infield and then drifted back up the racetrack and caught the side of Johnny Benson.
Let's see if we can talk to our point leader, Todd Bodine. Hey, Todd, this is Phil in the booth. Can you hear me?
I got you, Philzy.
Obviously, you know what happened to JB. You guys have been trying to win this championship. What a great season. But I know you didn't want to win it this way if, in fact, Johnny's out of contention right now. But you've had your own issues tonight, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been struggling. This Lumber Liquidators Tundra is not as good as it was last year down here. But my crew's been doing a great job on pit stops, making changes. We just made some big ones right there. Hopefully it'll get better. You know, we still got a long race to go. And just not going to count our chickens before the hatch.
All right, you keep going now. You remember, all you got to do is finish 28th or better. There are 4 trucks right now out of the race, so that's not enough.
10-4, that's exactly right, bud.
Well, and for Johnny Benson to even be in contention, he's got to finish first or second.
Well,
that
no,
truck probably can't do it.
Rick, look at if you look at the points now, I think Ruderman has actually moved ahead of Benson.
It's close. He's still 24 points back, but as an owner, I'm guessing you're hoping that that's going to change.
Oh, I was doing. I'm not good. I'm not good at math.
Well, I'm showing I'm not either. That's why we have Phil up here.
Well, that's why we have this graphic right here. It tells the whole story.
Phil was poking me the whole time. Well, I just forgot to carry the one.
That last pit stop out in front now of the field. Dennis Setzer. And Dennis Setzer has an 8-year streak on the line. He's won a race the past 8 years, and it could stop tonight, or he could continue it if he stays out front. 35 laps of racing remaining. To the outside, Brendan Gaughan takes over the top spot. He will lead the field as they go down the backstretch.
I would guess more than likely that we had a little 2-tire situation on some of those guys, but here comes Nemechek. We know he got 4 tires. He took over second. He's looking for Brendan Gaughan.
Yeah, what Nemechek needs right now is for Mark Martin back there in the yellow and green truck to get held up for about 25 or 30 laps.
Or 35, actually.
Yeah, maybe 35.
Brendan Gaughan leading the field around this mile-and-a-half track. It was 3 years ago when all he wanted to do was finish in front of 3 other drivers and claim his first championship on lap 100. That dream went away. Problems with the 16 of Mike Bliss and that Strut Masters number 16 Chevrolet.
Not sure. Looks like that. Is the left front tire flat? Looks like the left front tire may be flat, DW.
Must be soft because
it's not completely flat.
He slowed on the racetrack. There's Brendan Gaughan up high. Joe Nemechek on the inside. He'll try to take away the top spot. They're side by side as they go down the backstretch.
Great racing here in Homestead. We feel like Brendan Gaughan probably got 2 tires or maybe even no tires on that last pit stop, but he's going to fight back on the outside.
He's strong up on that outside, guys.
Keeps that momentum as he runs higher. But look at the Scotts Ford coming into the picture now of Mark Martin.
You know, Brendan actually ran a lane lower that time in that corner, and it looked like he gained more momentum on the 46 of Joe Nemechek.
Doing it again. Brendan Gaughan's going to hold on. They're too wide for second. Mark Martin on the inside. Joe Nemechek on the outside. Hermie.
Hey, Phil, you exactly right on the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. 2 tires on his last stop. These guys have had a horrible night on pit road. The first time on the pits, they lost 8 spots. The second pit stop, they lost 4 spots. So they took just 2 tires on this last stop to get him out front. A quick note on the 16 of Mike Bliss. He thinks his throttle linkage has come loose and he's having a hard time getting throttle down on that 16 Chevrolet, guys.
There's David Ruderman right there, the 17 Toyota. This is just moments ago. You see him racing with the 10 of Terry Cook just moments ago. Watch this now. Terry Cook up against the wall. David Ruderman's going to make a little contact. There's a 60 right there. Great save by Terry Cook.
It really was. And, of course, Terry Cook is really kind of hot at Ruderman right now because he's all over him. We got to fight for the lead. That'll last maybe
until now.
He didn't quite clear him. Brendan Gaughan fought back. He had that momentum from the high side. Let's see what happens when we get down to turn number 3.
Mark Martin running so strong on the bottom of the racetrack. Brendan Gaughan trying to keep the momentum up. Looks as though he stays in the gas all the way through the corner. And they'll stay side by side. Brendan Gaughan with the advantage across the stripe.
Give old Brendan credit. He's not giving up. He likes running up front, leading this race.
I like the line he runs when he's down there, Darrell, when he's not quite all the way up against the wall. It looks like he gains more momentum than he does when he's right up against the fence.
I got a feeling you get up that high, there's a lot of trash up there, man. You're just right on the edge of spinning out.
That South Point Dodge looking to find victory lane. Brendan Gaughan's last win came back in 2003 when he was running full-time in the Truck Series. Mark Martin looks for his 6th win in 2006. And they continue to battle side by side for the lead.
Let's see which line Brendan runs right now. He's not quite up as high as he has been, and Mark Martin is not able to clear him.
It's a beautiful thing about a racetrack with some banking like this. You got 2 grooves. Kind of reminds me of the track out in Urbandale, where you can run all over the place. One guy's as good as the other.
Joe continued to run side by side. So it looked like Mark wiggled a little bit, and he was not able to keep the momentum. Brendan opens up a 2-3 truck length lead.
We'll see how this all plays out when we come back. The South Point Dodge of Brendan Gaughan in front of the field at Homestead-Miami. The final race of the season on speed. Has continued for the 2 minutes that we were away.
Man, this is a great duel right here, buddy. I tell you, Brendan he's riding high, wide, and handsome, and he's holding off Mark.
Mark Martin is using all 30 years experience to try to figure out a way to get by that 77 of Brendan Gaughan. Did he do it that time? Did he clear him?
He cleared him.
You drivers, I believe, call it getting up on the wheel.
Well, you know what it was? Mark was waiting for us to come back from break.
That was awful nice. We've had 13 different lead changes amongst 8 drivers. Brendan Gaughan being one of those. Mark Martin has led quite a few laps. Joe Nemechek has led the most until Mark Martin goes across the start-finish line. And now they've led the same amount. 37 laps led.
It's going to be very difficult for Brendan Gaughan to match the speed that Mark Martin has now that Mark's got the whole racetrack. When Brendan was on the high side, he kept Mark from, look at this 3-wide racing. Isn't that Johnny Benson? His truck is all crashed to pieces on the inside of that 3-wide.
You got that right.
He's not giving up. Johnny Benson still digging, still trying to get to the front. He's in front of the 30.
Well, you got to remember, he wants to hold on to 2nd place, too. I mean, you know, he doesn't want to throw it all, you know, cast everything to the wind.
I think he already took 2nd away from him.
Well, I did some quick math. I got to be a little more careful. Give me a calculator.
That Excite Batteries, number 23. Toyota Tundra of Johnny Benson has been through some tough times this season, but has battled through it all, and he's continuing to battle now. Being scored in the 14th position.
Look at the very front of that group right there. That's the 22 of them. You remember him hitting the inside wall?
He and Benson have made incredible comebacks.
Bill's moved into the 11th spot.
A little bit loose there for Johnny Benson. He checks up a bit as he tries to get by the 14 of Rick Crawford.
You know, Phil, sometimes you wreck them and you actually make them better because you can go in there and beat around them a little bit.
You know, as sensitive as these trucks are now aero-wise, you know, we used to see that
problems with Johnny Benson. Looks as though he cut the left front. Got up into another truck.
Outside, another one coming inside, outside.
I bet that was where most of the damage was, as you can see on his left front there now.
Yeah, we see that we're staying green.
He's saying right front, but it's actually left front that he's lost.
Yeah, and you can see, I think the fender probably cut that down. I haven't seen any smoke coming off of it, though.
And we stay green. They are still racing around this 1.5 miles. Take one more look at this.
Watch him, he's on the inside. You see him wiggle as he gets down and turn him on. The tire's already flat. He makes a little contact with the 75 of Eric Almirola, but a lot of drivers did a great job avoiding him.
What he did, Phil, is he went in that corner. He had to get on the brakes to stay off of the 33 and the 75. When he got on the brakes, the fender came down and cut his tire.
JB continuing to have problems. He's on pit road. They're going to change the tire, probably do a little fender work. Here's for 5th, David Starr in front of Bobby Hamilton Jr. We'll sneak away one more time and be back for the finish of this one. It's Mark Martin out in front of Brendan Gaughan, Eric Darnell, Joe Nemechek, and David Starr. 22 laps complete, 12 remain. Mark Martin out in front of the field. Brendan Gaughan 2nd. Eric Darnell 3rd. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is taken over 4th, and Joe Nemechek drops to 5th.
Johnny Benson got a penalty for speeding on pit road when he left the pit, so he has had a pass-through penalty. He is being shown right now in the 27th spot, 3 laps.
That's the kind of night that when you're leading the points like Todd was, that dream about having. It's the nightmare you dream about. And tonight it just happened to fall on Johnny Benson.
Ray Dunlap.
10 for him.
Go ahead, Ray.
Well, guys, what do you do whenever you're trying to win a championship and you're really nervous? Well, Todd Bodine went snook fishing, and he went with a good buddy of his, Mike Greenwell, who used to play for the Boston Red Sox. Mike is here cheering him on up on top of one of the back pit boxes. They went fishing for a couple of days. Todd said, I've never done anything quite like that. I learned a lot. And in a couple of weeks, these guys will head to the Bahamas on the beach bash. So lots of celebration about to happen down here, but Greenwell helping ease that tension for Todd Bodine. Krista?
Well, Mark Martin is our leader, but we have to give a little shout out to Eric Darnell, his teammate. It's been a great weekend for the Woolrich Ford. He qualified 5th. He is currently running 3rd. Eric Darnell is going to clinch the Rookie of the Year title right here tonight. And also, David Starr really holding in there in 6th. He's been playing pit strategy all night. Earlier, he took 2 tires. He is running on old tires. On their last stop, they made a track bar adjustment, no tire change. David Starr running 6th.
Phil, I'm shocked about Eric Darnell, pulling that Rookie of the Year thing. I never would have believed that.
I think we already gave it to him, did we?
Oh, that's right. You did, didn't you?
Inside of 10 laps, 8 laps remaining for Mark Martin as he looks for his 6th win in the number 6 Ford and his last ride in the Roush Racing truck.
What an incredible season that Mark Martin has had in this truck. Mike Beam and his guys have done such a terrific job. If they win, it's going to be win number 6. They also ran 8 Busch races with his same truck team. Had a lot of top 5 finishes over there in the Busch Series. Had the best car a couple times in the Busch Series.
Hermie, what's Brendan Gaughan saying?
Yeah, guys, Brendan Gaughan's probably not going to catch Mark Martin to win this race. But Brendan Gaughan tonight is the perfect example of it takes the complete package to win a race in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He has been killed on pit road. He lost 8 spots the first time, 3 spots the second time. And not only is he on 2 tires, but they did that because the 4 tire stops were not going their way tonight. So you got to be fast on the track and in the pits this day and time in NASCAR, Ray.
Hey, Hermie, let's talk about that 6 truck that's up front. Mark Martin, there's a couple of drivers that are going to be really glad that he's leaving Roush Racing. One is Regan Smith, who will share his Nextel Cup ride with him next year. And another driver is a youngster named Kelly Byers. And Kelly Byers will be a teammate to Mark Martin over at the Wood Brothers JTG Racing in the Craftsman Truck Series next year. And a couple of very young drivers going to hope to learn a lot from a great driver, one of the best ever in NASCAR, Mark Martin.
You know what? I think Mark Martin is going to really step up that program over there where he's headed with that truck program and everything for next year. That's going to be a big plus for that whole group over there. John Wood, and I think it's really going to just go through the whole organization.
And really excited to be there. He talked to us yesterday in the garage area. Really excited to be going over there. And he said, hey, I've watched the Wood Brothers race my whole life. I've always wanted maybe to run with the Wood Brothers. There's Mark Martin actually putting Todd Bodine a lap down, but Todd doesn't care right now. He knows he's a champion.
He's on cruise control.
Across the start-finish line, 4 laps of racing remain in the final race of the 2006 season. Todd Bodine looking for his first ever championship for the Bodine family. Mark Martin closing out a very successful season in the Truck Series. Battles continue behind Mark Martin. Todd Bodine letting Brendan Gaughan go. Almost 2 seconds separate Mark Martin from Brendan Gaughan, and then another 2 seconds back to Eric Darnell, who's running 3rd.
Well, you know, it doesn't kill you to spin out here, obviously. Bill Lester has fallen back to 11th place. Michael, who had a terrible night, he's sitting down there in 16th place. So this racetrack is a little more forgiving than I'd give it credit for.
Tonight, only 4 cautions have come out.
Mark Martin is on cruise control right now. He's got about a 2.5 second lead on Brendan Gaughan, but what a great job for Brendan Gaughan. He told us how excited he was about 2007, and what a great way to head off into the winter time with a terrific run here at Homestead in a 2nd place finish. It looks like he's going to hang in here for a 2nd place finish.
And a couple weeks back, they decided to shake the team up a little bit. They changed crew chiefs, and obviously they're going in the right direction, because tonight A big improvement for the South Point Dodge of Brendan Gaughan as they run second, and we're running up front and leading this race for quite a few laps.
Look what a crew chief will do for you. Look what Rick Wren did for Johnny Benson. And you get the right chemistry, get the right crew chief with the driver, you can do what Brendan did tonight. You can go out there and have a good night.
The final lap for Mark Martin at Scott's Ford, number 6, making his way down the backstretch.
And a final lap in a Roush truck for Mark Martin.
In the final lap of 2006.
Putting the bookend on the season, Mark Martin won in Daytona, and now as he comes out of turn number 4, he will win the final race of the season. The Ford 200 goes to Mark Martin.
And Todd is just creeping out of turn 4. He said, man, I just got to make it a little wee bit further, and I did.
Across the start-finish line, the Lumber Liquidators, number 30, Toyota Tundra of Todd Bodine, comes across, and the team begins to celebrate. The championship is theirs. Germain Racing claims the 2006 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship.
Yeah, it's good for the Hillman father and son team there. Great effort, man. Great effort.
There's a guy right there with a load off his shoulders.
Oh, boy.
What an amazing season it has been. The wins for Johnny Benson.
You can do a little celebration over here if you want to, but then congratulations, buddy. You are
the 6 wins for Mark Martin. What a battle between these two veteran competitors. Todd Bodine coming out on top. Johnny Benson struggling in the last few races as far as mechanical problems took him pretty much out of contention. Mark Martin will celebrate with the fans here in Homestead-Miami, as will Todd Bodine. Ray Dunlap.
Guys, it's mayhem down here, but let me tell you who all's here. Bob Germain, as you met earlier. We've got Mike Hillman Sr. right here, team manager. This is Steve Germain and Rick Germain, the 3 guys that put it all together, and this guy right here who made it happen. A championship, and for you and for these guys, and most of all for Todd Bodine.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Ray, it's awesome for Germain. Lumber Liquidators, Toyota. You know, Todd did one tremendous job, but this team has been pretty awesome. You know, Todd's only drove our trucks in 47 races, and we've won 10 of them. We've won a championship. I don't know what to say, man. I'm so proud of everybody. I just thank God for the opportunity, man.
The last 6 or 8 have been quite a roller coaster ride, too.
Man, you know, everybody says you don't chase points, but you do. You know, you start not being aggressive enough, not doing the right things, second guessing what you're doing, but you know, it worked out for the best for us.
Congratulations. Right here is the champions, the team owners and the team manager.
Take a look at that. The race winner and the series champion congratulating each other. Todd Bodine finishes the race 21st, but locks up the 2006 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship. He'll celebrate now, and we'll talk to him and hand him the trophy when we come back. Fitting into the 2006 season, Mark Martin started 2006 in Daytona in Victory Lane. He ends 2006 in Victory Lane in Homestead. We let him out of the truck and go down to Krista.
A very familiar sight. Mark Martin in Victory Lane here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He led the most laps this season. He now has the most wins this season as he thanks and congratulates his crew. Mark Martin, and thanks the fans as well, something he talks about all the time, his fans. Mark Martin has won on just about every track this year. He's won at the super speedways, Daytona and Talladega. He won at a short track at Bristol. He won at a mile track in Dover, a 2-mile track in California. Now you've got the 1.5 miles. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Golly, number 6. This team is just spectacular. This is the way to end it up. Only thing better would be to win Sunday night too. But I really want to thank the fans. Everybody supported me this year so much, and this has been the time of my life. Mike Beam and these guys and this Ford F-150 Scotts and everybody that supported it. Driving this 6 truck has been the highlight of the year for sure, but it's been a great year with the AAA car too, and the fans have really made that happen.
Mark, this is the last weekend for you with Jack Roush. You said earlier in the weekend you don't really feel like it's emotional. You just kind of feel like it's awe-inspiring. Are you emotional now in Victory Lane?
Not really. Now, it's not like it's getting cut way too short. You know, if this would have happened 10 years ago, then I would have been emotional. But man, it's been a long ride, and we've done this stuff a lot. And I mean, everybody gets old. I mean, I've done this 19 years. I mean, I can't do it 19 more. So, I'm going to miss driving this thing. I can tell you that. But I know that the guys with the 21 truck, the wood guys and all, they're going to try real hard to have a Ford truck this good too.
Mark Martin starts off the year in victory lane. He finishes it in victory lane as well. Hermie?
Yeah, with Brendan gone, Brendan, great run tonight. First pit stop, you come in third, go out 11th, but you guys battle back for second place finish. A great way to go into the offseason.
A great race team. You know, these boys, they made a mistake, they know it, and he's standing right here feeling bad, but I love Robert Ewan, he's the man. And he came back great on that last stop. You know, our Dodges were the best all year. We worked our tails off, and man, to battle with Mark Martin in the end, you definitely know your team is ready to be back on top when you can battle Roush Racing and Mark Martin. So proud of my boys. Tony Liberati worked his tail off to get us here. Brian Barry's got it now, and he did a great job making decisions, and it's just fantastic, and got to say thanks to everybody. My daddy wasn't here tonight, so Dad, we're kicking you out for good, and thanks to all the boys at the trough. We appreciate it.
Great run for Brendan Gone. Second place tonight, guys.
Well, we still have the 2006 champion to crown. Todd Bodine continues to make his way around the track, and well, we're getting the stage ready. To the victor go the spoils, and they're coming up next. Another award goes out to our Rookie of the Year. The 5th Roush driver to claim that is Eric Darnell. He's with Hermie.
That's right, Rick. Eric, congratulations. A third place finish tonight. And 2006 Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, this is a testament to the whole team. John Quinn and all the guys have done a great job this year. And, you know, we had a really good run tonight. We had a little bit of a problem there in the pits a couple times, but the guys bounced back on the third pit stop, and our Woolworths Ford was strong there in the race. We didn't quite have enough for Mark, but I think a couple more laps we would have run Brendan down, and just a really good way to end the year for us.
The future, one of the guys of the future of Roush Racing, Eric Darnell. Now let's go to Ray Dunlap, who's with our champion.
And as Todd the Onion Bodine begins to climb out of this Lumber Liquidators Toyota, he picks up the Craftsman toolbox. No worries about a little damage to this race truck. Look at that right there. Now that's the way to celebrate a championship. Todd, the very first thing you did, your brother Jeffrey come over, he brought you the phone, and you got to say something to your mom. What'd you tell her?
Oh, we finally did it. I can't believe it.
You're a long ways from Chemung, New York.
You know, we've been races for a lot of years. Jeff and Brett got cousins raced, nephews. It's the first time as a family we won something this important. This is so special. You can't imagine what this means to me, for my family, and to everybody that helped me on my race cars ever. It paid off for you. Thank you.
Earlier today, when I heard you in practice, I was thinking to myself, here's a guy who's not in very good spirits. I guess it was just that cautious approach to this championship.
Well, I mean, we did what we had to do, right? And it's a shame that we had to race that way, but at the very end, the tires were vibrating so bad I couldn't go any faster. So I saw Johnny had his problems. I knew we were going to be all right and just ride around and finish. And unfortunately, that's not our style, but that's what got it done tonight.
Guess what? In just a few minutes, you get to go up here and hoist the big trophy.
Champion, damn, you believe that?
You are the champion. Right there he is, Todd Bodine, the first Bodine champion in NASCAR.
Final race this season. Mark Martin, that's a familiar sight, seeing him up top. Brendan Gaughan, second. That's the best finish he's had since he won back in 2003.
And 2 Dodges in the top 5, more than likely for the first time this year.
This is a page that amazes me with, again, Bill Lester and having that problem he had, and come down there and there's Michael and Kerry Earnhardt. He comes home 19.
Damon Lusk gets lead lap finish in 18th. Good job for him.
Continuing through the field, your champion Todd Bodine finishes 21st. Not where he wanted to finish, but it was enough to claim the championship.
Because Johnny Benson is back there in 26th. We saw him, he was running, battling for second, got taken out in an accident or damaged in an accident with the 4 of Chase Miller.
See the final 6. Mike Skinner, your pole sitter, was out early in this one, coming home 30th.
Yeah, Aaron Crocker was out early with engine trouble, I think.
Final point standings, Todd Bodine with 127 points over Johnny Benson. That's the 3rd largest points margin in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history.
David Rudman finishes 3rd, only 9 points behind JB for the 2nd spot. But David Starr finishes 4th. Jack Sprague moves up in the 5th. And Ted Musgrave, for the first time in his Truck Series career, does not finish in the top 5.
Skinner finished 10th.
Wanted to hold on to a top 10 finish. He does. Todd Bodine claims the victory for his family. Welcome back to Homestead, Florida. It's time to give out the trophy for the 2006 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. We go trackside and onto the stage with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. The champion's here. He's got his hat and his jacket on. And let me come over here to Mike Helton, who is the president and CEO of NASCAR. You have some words for Todd Bodine.
I do, Todd, and the Germain Brothers Racing. Congratulations, guys, on a great season. Got you another piece of hardware for your shop and your home and everything, but congratulations to all. You had a great championship season.
Mike, thank you very much. And if we step over here, you'll meet Scott Howard, who is the Senior Manager of Marketing for Sears Craftsman. And Scott, you get to present Todd with a pretty nice piece of hardware.
Absolutely, Todd. On behalf of everybody with Craftsman, congratulations on your 2006 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship.
Thanks, Scott. There it is, baby. You get a chance.
How about it?
What do you think about that, champ?
That's awesome. You know, I never thought I'd get one of these, and thanks to this group of guys, I did. And thanks, Mike and Scott and everybody at Craftsman. Craftsman's been so good to this series for so long. It's great to be a part of it, and I appreciate everything they've done. And Lumber Liquidators, NASCAR, everybody involved, all my crew, the Germain Brothers, awesome. I don't know what else to say.
You got a spot picked out, a good place to put this thing?
Yeah, we're going to put it in the shop. Everybody earned this trophy here, so it's going to the shop.
All right, Todd Bodine has a chance to pick up the trophy. I'll get out of the way so these guys can all get in, because there's lots and lots of pictures to take.
Celebration continuing on the stage. And Phil, I think you need to help us sum this season up.
I'll tell you, Todd Bodine, I picked him after how strong he finished last year in the 2005 season. I said, this is going to be his championship. Now, obviously, JB made it awfully close, but we came down to the last race. You know, Johnny had a little trouble 2-3 races in a row there. It may have been a different outcome had Johnny not had that drive shaft go out. Lost that engine a couple races ago. But, hey, everything happens for a reason. Todd Bodine ran strong all year long, and there he is in victory lane with a championship.
And DW, a dominant performance here. 22 races, he led the points this season.
Yeah, and you know, as a fan watching from home, I watch these races all the time when I'm at home, and as a fan watching from home, he and his team were there every week. And I mean, the run he had at Talladega, when he had that penalty, had to go all the way to the back, and he come charging up through there, that was a championship. And I think you guys maybe even said that. Remember this day, because this will be the day that if he's going to win the championship, it's going to make the difference. And I believe it did. Certainly tonight was an exciting night for him and for his family. I'm so glad to see Jeff here. And, of course, Brett works for NASCAR. Pretty nice night, huh, Phil?
Sure was. A great family racing. Their father, the Bodine father, Eli, was a promoter at Chemung Speedway up in New York. That's where all these guys got their start. He passed away a couple of years ago, but you know, he's smiling from up in heaven.
They're good drivers. They're good craftsmen too. I mean, the bobsleds that Jeff's working on, and like I said in the pre-race show, Todd Bodine is as good a mechanic and craftsman as there is.
The banquet will air on Speed December 29th. Make sure to tune into that as we'll celebrate the top 10 finishers in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for the 2006 season.